Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Seahawk Talk here on the Salve Athletics Network. I am Andrew Pizzilla, your host, coming to you live on Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope. Through Twitter, we have a great show for you lined up here today. We'll be joined by Kevin Gilmartin, Max DeVito, and Sam Ventola of our football team, and Sebastian Noordzy, the head coach of our women's volleyball team. Can't wait to speak with them. We're going to speak to our producers as well to lead off the show, but as always, we want to remind everyone to keep their distance. That is the shake with Keep Your Distance. We're going to always be reminding everybody here who tunes in to keep their distance, social distancing, hand washing, mask wearing, all of that stuff we all know all about. And we're doing very well with here at Sal Virginia. Want to keep it up. And now I want to bring in the producers, Joey Morelli and Mike DeFusco, to lead things off here on the show today. Fellas, how are we? And what do you guys have to start off today's program here on Thursday?
Doing pretty good here today, and if Joey doesn't mind, I'm gonna I can show my thing first.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
So this was just a quick little tweet I found. So if you didn't know, now you know that you need to get an appointment before going to any state-sponsored COVID testing sites. And then I also found this. I just want to show you how you can then sign up and how you can go through how you can go through the process with their login. So then you would just go to this page here, and then you fill your name out, very simple process, and then you can select a time and all that. So I just wanted to mention that quick. If you were looking to get a test, you need to set an appointment, and this right here is how you can do it. It's pretty simple.
Awesome. Joey, what do you got for us?
All right. So I was looking through Newport Daily News, and today they just hired a new member of the editorial staff, Savannah Dunning. She's a recent grad of University of Texas, and she was the editor at their student newspaper, and she worked at some other Austin newspapers, and she's going to be focusing on business and economic type stories. And they have this little interview with her, and it's a short read, and I would definitely recommend go to Newport Daily News' website and check it out, because it's always cool when there's new blood, I guess, especially in newspaper. A lot of people are always there's no jobs in newspapers anymore, but hey, they just got a new person. There's a person that's a job in a newspaper, and that's good that Newport Daily News can hire someone, because that means they're making money.
Backup for Scott Barrett.
Yeah.
Help.
Well, I was going to ask, because their website looks completely different today when I went on. It looks more like their New York Times font and everything now. They looks like they switched it up a bit.
Oh yeah, then I noticed it was different, but I couldn't figure out how. You're right. It is that font.
We'll have to get Scott Barrett on and ask him about the rebrand.
Yeah, he's a digital editor. That should be his department.
Yes. And I think we might be having Scott on tomorrow. So little tease there.
We can ask him about her.
I wanted to share. This was something that broke yesterday, just before the show. We didn't get to it afterwards. The Division III Management Council has recommended a blanket waiver for all Division III student athletes, and the President's Council will vote on this next week, I believe, on Wednesday. And this is a big deal. Basically, this would just say that this entire year is almost like it didn't happen. So for kids who want to keep eligibility, they can play and not worry about if the season gets, lost because midway through it, a COVID outbreak happens and we have to cancel the seasons. Obviously here at Salve, we're hoping to have winter, spring, and all fall sports happen between January and May. this is going to be a big deal if it passes. The funny side effect, and Mike, you mentioned it at the beginning of the show, is with some people already having spring sports having or kids having waivers from last year and then a waiver from this year. We could have some 30-year-olds like in the world of hockey. We might have some adults at that
Yeah.
point on some of our teams. But I think this is a good thing to have that people now you can kind of really start to plan and you don't have to worry so much about should I play, should I not play, blah 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 blah. We're gonna be able to if you can play, you'll be able to play and not worry about am I wasting my year for only a handful of games or what might not be a real season. The NCAA is kind of acknowledging here that this is so unorthodox and we're going to give everybody kind of a break here.
Yeah, see, I know that was a reason a lot of kids were just stepping away. It's just, we're not even sure if we're going to play. Is it worth going through the practice just to end up getting our season cut short? So I'm glad to see this. And, there's nothing wrong with, staying in school a little longer and playing whatever sport you want. Get your doctorate. You can always, then that just means you get more money when you come out of school. So, I think it's a good option to have. I know not everyone can do that, but at least they're giving students the option to do that.
Yep. They also get into expanding the fields for the winter and spring sport championships. Non-traditional coursework. How kids who might be doing exclusively remote learning, how does that affect their eligibility? About being on roster, all that sort of stuff. So, all this stuff which we've been wondering about for a while, like how's it going to work? Well, they've been working on it. It's nothing. You have to work through a lot of things to come up with solutions. And there's going to be a lot of this stuff put to a vote next week, so we'll have to keep our eyes on that. But definitely, I would say progress for sure.
Yeah.
So. All right, fellas, I'm going to let you guys get to work behind the scenes. We're going to get moving here to our first guest and look forward to speaking to you again at the end of the show.
All right.
All right, that's Joey Morelli and Mike DeFusco, the producers here on Seahawk Talk. We're going to get to our first guest now, the head coach of our football team, Kevin Gilmartin, joined by Max DeVito and Sammy Ventola. Fellas, how are we doing here this afternoon?
Awesome. Doing good.
Awesome. Now, Kevin, I wanted to ask, what is your thoughts off the bat hearing? I'm sure you already had seen that news about the blanket waiver thing. As a coach, what is your thoughts when you hear that? And then I'll also ask you guys, the athletes, what your thoughts are when you hear the news about potentially the blanket waiver.
I thought it was a great idea. I mean, I think one of the tough things with this year is how everything's going on, and nobody really knows. Are we going to play? Are we not going to play? I mean, just a lot of mental pressure on everybody, and this is going to relieve some pressure on people, and I think that's a huge difference. Now they can sit back and say, hey, I'll continue to go forward with school. I'll continue to go forward with practice. I'll worry about it. I'm not going to lose a year for it. People don't have to make a great big decision on it because NCAA is making a smart move. So I thought it was a great call by them.
What about you guys? Sammy and Max? What are your thoughts about the blanket waiver?
I think it's a good idea. I think that for guys that want to keep playing for like a fifth year or something, that it'll benefit them.
Definitely us. For most people, they always want to get their one-year masters here at Salve. It's a great opportunity to get another year to get back on the field.
Yeah. Now, Sammy, I believe you are not playing this year. You're helping out coaching, correct?
Yeah.
What is that transition like? What for you do you feel has been the biggest adjustment to go from playing with guys to now having to like coach teammates?
The biggest thing for me is that I'm coaching a lot of guys that I've been playing with for the past 2 years. So a lot of it is just working on changing the relationship to make sure they respect me as a coach and stuff like that. But I think it's been going pretty smooth. I think it's been good. Coach Gilmartin has helped out a lot, and I think it's been good.
Mm-hmm. Now, Sam and Max, you guys went to high school together. Did you plan to go to the same college together? Was that something you guys had talked about, or is it just happened that way?
We kind of planned it, yeah.
Yeah. So like when we were in high school, like I met Sammy freshman year of high school. We became good friends. We played. He was my quarterback. I was the receiver throughout high school. And when we ended up like looking at schools, we ended up both like looking at Salve. We both loved it. And we were like, awesome, we're both going here. Let's do it.
What went into that decision? What was kind of the deciding factors for both of you to choose Salve Regina?
My biggest thing was like all the coaches up here were real nice. The campus was beautiful. They had a good business program, and it wasn't too far from home.
Similar things for me. My parents loved the campus. That was a huge sell point. But the coaches were great. It's a good football program, and glad we joined it.
Kevin, as a coach, do you like when you can get multiple guys, say, from the same school who already kind of come to your team, especially quarterback, wide receiver? They're already going to have some rapport together. Do you look for that, and do you really like when you can get that opportunity?
Oh, absolutely. It's the best. I mean, like for the recruiting, you're bringing them up for that day. Sometimes you're worried that it's going to be a distraction, that they're going to be hanging out with each other and they're not going to meet the rest of the Salve football people because they're going to be hanging out amongst themselves. But with these two, I mean, they came up and they jumped in, meeting the players, meeting the coaches, really getting along, getting very comfortable with them. And at the same time, their parents, I remember both sets of parents coming up and, talking, hanging out with them. And, the personalities on both sets of parents were just awesome. And I was just like, all right, these families will definitely fit into the Salve football family. So I love them right from the get-go.
Kevin, you've had guests on, players on with you the last couple of weeks, and you're like Kevin Bacon, except it's only like 1 or 2 degrees of separation for everybody. Did you know either of these guys like uncles, cousins? You seem to know everybody every single week. Where Max and Sam, you didn't know anything about them before you get to see them?
Oh, well, I mean, going through the process, you start to learn a ton about them, with the recruiting, you start digging each layer and you start digging and you find out a little bit more about them. No, I think the way it is, you say like I'm Kevin Bacon. I think it's the other way. I think like nobody wants a degree of separation from me. They want to get further and further. They want to be like I'm 10 degrees. I'm 11 degrees away from him. I mean that's the reality.
That's only because you haven't showered since quarantine started, Kevin. Fellas, what makes Salve football special?
I think one of the biggest things is just like our bond together. Like everyone's so close on the team. Like you come up here, you walk on campus, like you see all like the teammates walking around. It's literally just like a brotherhood. It's just like awesome to be a part of, honestly.
Yeah, as soon as you come into the school, you automatically have 100+ brothers that you could count on, and it really means a lot.
And I love to hear that because I always say that the Salve football family is what it's all about. I mean, I know when I went through the process, in recruiting, I always said that, I wanted to create something that I went through where, I still have friends of mine from college that I still get together with, that I talk with, that I'm in group chats with. And I know that's happening here. And the fact that that's the first thing they said, that makes me really happy that that's exactly what's happening. And we get to win some football games too at the same time.
Of course.
Now, where is practice at right now? I know everybody's at different points in their phasing, but Kevin, if you could catch us up, what have you guys been allowed to do at practice? Have you gotten that 11v11 yet? Are guys actually starting to get some working against each other? How's things going?
Yeah, we're in phase 3 right now. We started that this week, and so we're out on Topol Field. We still don't have the entire team on the same field at the same time because of the numbers and everything. But we're able to do a lot more, and we were able to, go through simulated football and everything where guys are running around playing football, doing skelly, doing some team. But, there's a lot of things that we can't do, to prevent contact and everything. But at the same time, this week, a couple of times, I was like, are you guys enjoying practice? And a couple of guys would look at me and they'd have big old smiles on their faces, and I think if you would have asked Max, during the season sometimes, like on a Thursday morning when we getting up for practice, I'm like, are you enjoying practice? He'd be like, yeah, I'm having a really good time here. It's a lot of fun. But instead it's you can see the joy on everybody's faces that they're actually able to get out and run around and play football. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was going to ask Max and Sam, you guys, that same thing. Sam obviously getting to coach a close-knit group of guys that and Max getting out to be able on the field, like kind of coach said there, like you probably never thought like you would relish and just enjoy practice so much, but it has to feel that way, right?
Yeah, honestly, like when we started phase 1, I was like, all right, I just want to get back into it. And then finally, I've been asking every day, when are we going to do wide receiver DB one-on-ones? That's my favorite thing to do. And finally, this he dropped the news on me, and it was like when I'm waking up for practice, I was like a little kid on Christmas morning. I was so excited.
Max, everybody had different challenges throughout the summer. I've spoken to a lot of basketball players about what did they do without access to hoops. And everybody said, oh, I could work on my handle, work on my ball handling. A little extra time working on some precision route running that you were able to debut yesterday?
Yeah, so over the summer, I had my brother home with me. He's a quarterback, so he always throws to me a lot. So I was able to work on my hands, and we got a field right next to our house, so we would get after it together. It's good to have him home when I'm home because it just helps me out in the off season.
Who has the better throw, your brother or Sam?
Oh, we know the answer
there. Sam, do you have plans, after college to want to stay involved in coaching?
Yeah, that was something when I came here as a freshman, me and Coach talked about that one day I would want to come onto staff and help out just so that I get experience in the field because it is something I'm thinking about doing.
In a weird way, does it kind of help that your first, dipping the toe into coaching is happening right now during a pandemic, all this crazy restrictions, and that no matter what, the rest of the way, you've pretty much done the most difficult thing possible?
Yeah, no, it's definitely good that I'm starting out like this, and I think it's going to help me, especially for next year, having a foot in the door already, getting used to things, that next year I'll be able to really help out on the coaching staff.
One thing that's funny with coaching with young coaches is it's always tough to really get out on the field and be confident, project yourself. But then on top of it, you're wearing a mask over your face, and so you're naturally it's going to be a lot less decibels, and so you got to project yourself plus times 2 because of the mask. And so you really have to bring out your confidence as a coach on the field, and then throw out the mask in there, and it's a whole nother beast.
Yeah, Kevin. Last question. You've throughout the years, at least my time being at Salve, there's always been. It seems like there's this tradition of either guys who are, students who are now transitioned to coaching, or recent graduates coming back to help the team. What is it you like about that, and what are the benefits of having recent grads helping you out on the coaching staff?
It's great. It's wonderful. I mean, like the coolest thing is, for me personally, is I was their coach. And now all of a sudden we become coworkers, and so you spend a little more time with them, and they really get to appreciate the other side of the fence. And so that's really cool for my end and everything. But they already know the system. They know what they expect. They know how practices should be run. So that's the smooth transition for them. The coolest thing is the fact that they want to do it. I mean, we don't pay them very much. I'm not going to lie about that one, but they want to stick around and still do it, and because they care so much about the program. They know they're doing it to help out the next level of players, the next generation. And they want to do that. It's not like the season ends, they're like, peace, I'm out. They want to stick around and be a part of it, the team, for another year, hold that another year, another possibility to win some more games together. And that makes me really happy that they want to do that. So I love every minute of it. And, I'm glad that people want to keep doing it, and hopefully we'll be able to keep up getting a couple more down the road.
All right, awesome. Fellas, thank you all so much for joining me here today. Good luck, Max and Sam, the rest of the way throughout the fall, and hopefully see you guys out on the field this spring.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
All right, take it easy now. That is head coach Kevin Gilmartin with Max DeVito and Sammy Ventola from our football team. We're going to go now to the head coach of our women's volleyball team, Sebastian Noordzy. Seabass, how you doing?
Hey, Pez, how's it going?
Pretty good. Give us the update. What phase are you in? What is practice like? How are things going? Catch us up here with what's going on with your program.
Yeah, so it's an exciting time in our program. We're in phase 3 of our phasing plan. So that means we are able to do some more close contact things for shorter amount of times. So we're able to actually do some blocking drills and some hitting against live blockers and defense around blockers. So it's been really exciting. It's been a nice change of pace because after a while, just passing gets pretty boring. You can only pass and serve so often, in my opinion.
Yeah. As I say, that has to be exciting because now you probably really get a chance to evaluate your team. Didn't get a chance to see them on the court in the spring through any sort of spring workouts. Now this is really like the first, really probably the closest to game action you've gotten so far to assess them. That must be good, right, from a coaching standpoint.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been eye-opening for me because I've only watched old game film and not necessarily I have old game film from some of these kids who haven't played too much from last year. So it's been awesome to see different people step up in their position. Um, just doing some drills and be like, oh, I didn't realize she could block that well. Or, oh my God, look at her turn around the defender right there. That's something I did not expect. So a lot of girls have stepped up and again opened my eyes and be like, all right, this is Salve volleyball. This is what we have. Let's run with it.
It must help the atmosphere around the team tremendously too. To have been progressing phase 1, phase 2, because everything is building towards the next thing. It must keep them hungry and motivated. I'm sure they're just as excited as you are to really be truly practicing and playing for the most part.
Yeah, for sure. Because usually build up to competition times, but we don't have competition much. So we have to build up for something. So it's just like a nice little break. After every 2 weeks, you get like a nice little reward. Our preseason where we had just team meetings, we were building up to that phase 1 where we can go into the gym. And then phase 1, the build up for 2 weeks. And it's like, okay, cool. Now we can start sharing the ball a little bit. And now we're at a point where it's like, all right, cool. We can have shorter amount of times being a little bit closer to each other. So it's been like nice little rewards that we pretty much earned by doing the right things.
Yeah. It's nice too, probably from a coaching standpoint, to sit down at the end of the day and be drawing up a practice plan and just thinking about volleyball things, right? Like, do you have a moment where you're like, oh my God, I just had like 20 minutes and I was only just thinking about like real practice type stuff and situations and not, oh wait, but this person can't be near this person, and oh wait, that's right, we can't touch the balls. Did you have a moment yet where you're like, oh wow, like, oh my God, this is actually just coaching?
Yeah. So the first phase when I was doing this, I was just like, all right, how do I avoid people being close to each other? And then again, we got into phase 2 and I'm just like, okay, cool. Now we can start doing some of my favorite drills. We can start sharing the ball a little bit. And then phase 3, I pulled out more of my favorite drills. It's like, oh, cool. Like we could do this blocking drill that people seem to love the whole entire time. Or we could do this defensive drill because if we keep it under a certain time, like we can be a little closer to each other. So I think it's rewarding for the girls to see how phase 1 of my coaching style is vastly different than phase 3 of my coaching style.
Yeah. Without games, there's opportunities for lots of other things. One of those is fundraising. Maybe talk about what your team's doing, or maybe how your team's involved with the department, trying to fundraise throughout the fall.
Yeah, so the department is doing a program-wide fundraiser event. Basically a big campaign where we have this one blanket and then each team has their own little channel where you can donate to. So we've been involved in that, trying to solicit donations to the volleyball program, which, as people who know, it helps so immensely just having those donations, because now you could do fun things. Like last year, the team went to Pennsylvania and got to go to Hershey Park. Part of that was the fundraising dollars that was able to go towards that fun stuff.
Yeah. What about other ways of being involved? I mean, I know a lot of teams. I know your team is already. I'm sure they're just finding more and more things to throw at you, community service wise, and all those opportunities on campus in the community. What has the team been doing to stay involved that way?
Yeah, so it feels like I almost lose track of all of it, because I feel like every day someone's like, hey, coach, how about this? Hey, coach, how about this? And I'm like, okay, awesome. Let's do it all. We have one of our athletes, Kate Murphy, came up to me and was like, coach, I'm thinking about doing a walk for mental health awareness. Are you interested? Can you spread out the word to help donate towards this event? And me and a few of the girls are going to take a walk to just raise awareness. So right away, I thought that was awesome. And then another one of our athletes, Meg Corkery, she came up to me and was like, hey, coach, we're trying to get donations for this program. We're trying to get, I think it was books or toys, that type of thing for a good cause. And then that was also eye-opening for me, because I was like, okay, cool. Service is really ingrained in the culture of Salve. If I'm not even the one bringing it to them, they're bringing it to me.
That's really awesome. I had a question that I've asked a couple of our coaches and different athletes too, and I'm going to ask this of you because I haven't talked to you in a little bit. When quarantine ends, when COVID's over, when we say, "Hey, the world is normal again," what is the first thing you'd want to do and or place you'd want to visit?
Oh, geez. First thing I would want to do is probably just play 6-on-6. Like, that's really all I want to do. Either me, myself, or get the team playing at a high level 6-on-6. In terms of places I would want to go, I'd probably want to stop by Texas again. I visited Austin a few years back, and I absolutely love that place.
So I've been to Austin. I was there in 2013. I spent most of my time on East 5th and 6th Streets. Where did you go when you were in Austin? How long were you there for?
So that was an awesome trip. It was after my student teaching experience. I decided to go to Texas for 2 weeks, actually, because I had some friends who played in a professional beach volleyball tournament. So I spent the time with them a little bit. We spent like a week and a half in Austin, near Zilker Park and near, I can't remember the name of the other park, but basically the site where this volleyball tournament was held. And then after the week and a half, we drove from Austin to Dallas, where they had USAV Open Nationals. And we had a group of 6 or 7 guys. We all got to play high-level indoor volleyball. And then we flew home from Dallas. It was a nice little, just like a 2-week vacation in Texas.
You said beach volleyball. Is there a beach in Austin?
No, there's not that I know of. But what they did is they had this park and they imported sands. They built like huge stadiums. So it was such a cool thing because it was like literally in the middle of a baseball field that they had this huge beach volleyball event.
Yeah, I was saying, I don't usually beach volleyball and Texas don't usually jump to my mind together. I'm thinking like rodeo or something like that.
Yeah, and there were plenty of that, but no, it was a really cool thing, and it was definitely just a different vibe than you would usually get in beach volleyball because again, we're used to like having the ocean right there. Now we had, a giant cow in the distance.
All right, cool. Sebastian, great to see you. Great catching up. Good luck with the rest of Phase 3. When will Phase 3 conclude for your team? When will practice sadly ramp down?
So I think we're going to end on Halloween, just have like a fun little Halloween practice, and then it's off to the off season.
Do you already have your costume picked out?
I do. I had the same costume for many, many years.
Awesome. We won't spoil that. We'll talk about it next week.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks, Sebastian. We'll talk to you later.
Yep. Always a pleasure.
All right. That's Sebastian Noordzy, the head coach of our women's volleyball team. We're going to take a short break and be back with our producers to wrap up today's show.
So you want to be a Seahawk? Let's make sure you wash your hands, keep your distance, wear your mask, and love your Seahawks.
Sammy, no mask?
Come on, Sammy. I know it's pumpkin spice season, but you can't bring drinks to class.
We have simple rules here, Sammy. Get out. Come back when you can follow them.
You gotta take care of yourself and others, even if you are Sammy the Seahawk.
Welcome back to Seahawk Talk. I am your host, Andrew Pizzelli. Want to bring in the producers now, Joy Morelli and Mike DeFusco, to help wrap up today's show. Fellas, first, as always, I want to get your thoughts from our guests here today. Anything that maybe stood out to you from who we had on?
I was glad to hear that I was not lying when I said that Max DeVito's brother is actually the quarterback at Syracuse. So just happy to hear that. That's also pretty cool. You know, he's very talented. If you don't watch many Cuse games, I do because my roommate's a Cuse fan. So check him out. He's pretty good.
I think it's funny because I'm pretty sure I said it yesterday about, like, I don't know what phase anybody's in. I could have sworn phase 2 just happened. And then Coach Noordzy was like, we're in phase 3. And I was like, I have no idea what's going on anymore. I can't keep track of these phases, man. But it's good to hear that they're progressing. Maybe they were only in phase 2 for like a week, and that's like a good sign. I don't know.
That's why I asked Joey, because I don't know either. So
Exactly.
I asked the people who know, hey, what phase you in?
You asking the right questions.
Exactly. It's the number one question. What else do we have here to help close out today's program? We'll start with Joey since we made Joey wait at the top of the show.
Yeah, sure. Let me share my tab. I found on Rhode Island Patch. I thought so. I clicked on this because Safe and Spooky Halloween. I thought this was like a group or something, but it's the Rhode Island Department of Education is doing a contest for kids. It's kind of confusing on like how it's a contest for kids. But the idea is to submit your ideas for a way to celebrate Halloween in a socially distant way, and they can win $50 in cash, which like preschool. Okay, I don't know how like a kindergartner like can have a real idea. Let's be honest, I don't know, but like if you give a kindergartner like $50, that's like $1 million to a kindergartner probably. But I liked at the bottom though they mentioned Governor Raimundo was like, all ideas are welcome, and I don't know if these are her ideas or something someone told her. But virtual pumpkin carving, that's cool. But candy shoots, I thought that was really clever. Like, so you don't have to, like, you're not near the kids and you're not like manually handing them a piece of candy. Like, I think that's a great idea, and I don't know why I hadn't thought of that. But yeah, you can submit your thing.
Quick arithmetic here. $50 nets you basically around 6 pounds of Reese cups. Just saying.
No, you're actually very wrong. It nets you a lot more than that.
You'd pretty much be you'd be like the Andrew Carnegie of like the playground.
recently, for no particular reason at all, me and my friends were like, how much would it cost to get, like, what's the maximum amount of like M&Ms you can buy on Amazon? Like, what's the biggest amount and how much is it? And then it delved into, okay, what other candies are there? And I want to say it was like 2 pounds of Reese's for like $20. So like you could get like 6 pounds almost or more, probably more than that based on the math. It's ridiculous how cheap it was. I'll be honest. It was like $15 for like 5 pounds of Skittles.
And I could eat it all in a single sitting.
Yeah,
Reese cups are my vice. It's like
absolutely.
It's like Lay's potato chips. You have one, you eat the whole bag.
Yes.
If I have a Reese cup and there's no one there to forcibly remove a bag from me, that bag is just getting.
They try to stop you by having all these layers of wrapping you have to get through. But
That's true. That's true. Mike, what do you have here for us at the end?
I could not find much to close the show off for as far as like what's it called, positive news. I didn't want to, I mentioned the coronavirus testing before, so if you want to, go ahead and do that, make an appointment. But also, just as always, just pump the, go out and vote message if you haven't already registered, or if you haven't done that, if you're not from Rhode Island and you haven't gotten your absentee yet, just look out for that because it's election coming up, and we really want to encourage people to go spread the word and use your voice.
Voting early. It's the easiest thing you can do. I'm doing it tomorrow morning like I did for the primary. There's like no one there.
I'm gonna cover all the sensitive information. I got my ballot today. I got it in the mail. I filled it out. I'm gonna mail it after this. I will say, as much as I love being able to vote early, I was a little disappointed because I thought this was my 3D printer So when they handed me this letter, I was like, that's not what I thought I was getting. But hey, I got this.
Wait, you're getting a 3D printer?
That
Yes.
wait, you can't look
bought
over
a
Way to
that.
3D
bury
printer
the
for my
lead.
birthday. Yeah, I bought a 3D printer for my birthday. Can you tell that I want to talk about it? It was on sale. I
How many
wanted
Reese
one.
cups did that cost?
You know, I don't know, but I was doing the math. I just looked up. I typed in Reese's bulk and get a 2-pound bag for $17.99. Divide that by 50. That's how many pounds of Reese's you can get. So 50 divided by 18, let's say, you can get.
What if you know a guy
5.5
who can get you
pounds.
some Reese cups? I might have a Reese cup guy. I'll have to talk. He might work down at
have it.
BJ's. Anyways, guys, great stuff as always. And like you said, Mike, want to keep pushing the message to go vote. You can go do it early. Everybody, make sure you're voting. We're coming down the home stretch here, so we're going to keep pumping that. So great reminder there. Guys, great work as always. Guess what? TGIF. Tomorrow's Friday.
Yeah, we'll get out of here a little early today, and then maybe early for the weekend tomorrow.
Yes. All right. We'll talk to you guys later. That is Joey Morelli and Mike DeFusco, the producers here on Seahawk Talk. I want to thank our guests here again today. We had Kevin Gilmartin, Max DeVito, Sammy Ventola, and Sebastian Noordzy. We are live every day, 3 to 4 p.m., there and abouts, on the Salve Athletics Network, streaming to you live on Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope. Through Twitter, you can catch every episode of the show by subscribing or following on those channels and going back and watching the archive version, or you can subscribe to the Seahawk Talk podcast, hosted on Sounder FM. Subscribe and you'll get the audio version of every single show, and that way you can take Seahawk Talk on the go. Well, that'll do it for today's show. We'll talk to you again tomorrow at 3 p.m. and send you into the weekend. Until then, I'm Andy Pizzelli. Have a good afternoon, everyone.